For today's practice, we'll be focusing in a little bit, especially on kind of this neck, front, chest, shoulder region, and then a little bit down in the front thighs as well. We'll be doing what I'm going to call sneaking up to ardha, chandrasana, chapasana. So we'll be mostly on the floor, and then we'll get up to do ardha, chandrasana, chapasana, and then that'll be class. It's going to be great, I think, anyway. So a couple blocks would be super handy. I have a blanket just for sitting on and for under my knees and shins. I think today especially that might be very helpful. And the strap, you only need a strap if it feels frustrating and demoralizing, if you cannot grab your foot behind you in those like thigh stretching type shapes, these shapes. So if you need a strap, grab it. Otherwise, find yourself a seat. Settle into your seat. You can place your hands on your legs, on your heart, palms at heart center. And bring your attention to your breath. Eyes opened or closed, but either way, allow your gaze to settle, just like you allow your seat to settle. And for a moment, just become really aware of, in this moment, how your breath is moving. Notice how you feel kind of in your upper chest, your shoulders, your neck. Notice how it feels when your breath moves through those areas. Notice how your jaw feels. And then notice if you have any stories that go along with those feelings that are coming through your head. I'm tight here because of this. I feel really good and relaxed because of this. And see if you can allow yourself to notice how you feel without attaching any story, moral judgment onto it. Wherever your hands are, release them down by your sides. And as you inhale, reach your arms out to the sides, palm facing forward. Bend your elbows and interlace your hands behind your head, just kind of pressing the back of your skull back into your hands as you exhale and then inhale again. And as you exhale, straighten your elbows, turn your thumbs down, and bring your hands behind your back so you can just grab fingers, wrists, forearms, elbows, whatever you can grab with some ease, and then pause there. Take a breath. On your next inhale, release your arms, turn your palms forward, thumbs up. Bend your elbows, bring your hands behind your head. Take a breath. Gently press your head back into your hands. With your next exhale, go the other way again. Thumbs down, Arms behind you. This time, take your chin toward your throat and then lower your forehead down. So just a little tighter bend than chin to chest is what I'm getting at. Release, go the first way again. So now hands behind your head, press. Think about the back of your skull and that area where your jaw meets your throat. Press that back as you breathe. And as you exhale, release, take your arms behind you, tuck your chin in toward your throat, and then take your forehead down so that you're curling your neck into flexion. One more time each way. Inhale, palms up, hands behind your head, throat back, head back. With an exhale, release that, hands behind you, chin towards your throat, forehead down. At the end of your next exhale, release that, pause. If your eyes are closed, you can blink them open. I just kept mine closed that whole time. And stretch your legs forward. You can shake them out for a minute if they've been sitting for a bit. Then switch the cross of your legs and grab a block. Now, if you don't have a block, don't fret. You can actually just use your fingers where I'm telling you to place your block. If you'll put your block, I'll mirror you. I'll do my best. Place your block in your left hand and then get a corner of it right under your collarbone. So if you have your collarbone here and you go down, my suggestion is not to go right up next to your sternum, though you can try different places, that's fine. I'm kind of taking mine out just a little bit like this and get the corner to gently push in. So you don't have to push as hard as you can, unless you just feel like it, I guess, but just get like you're using that corner to pin down that skin. And then turn your head to the left. And now take your jaw and move your jaw over that left shoulder. So it's like you're trying to move your jaw sideways. And come back to center with your head. Keep your block where it is, or you can try a different spot. Turn your head to the left again. This time, keeping your head turned left, lift your chin up. And now you can let your mouth be open, but then lift from the bottom jaw, like lift your chin up to close your mouth. And then just open and close your mouth a couple times. Release, take it back to center, and then one more time in that direction, turn your head to the left. You can absolutely stay right here or lift your chin. You can open and close your bottom jaw. You can take your jaw side to side. Do breathe. And then release, come back to center, let that go, take a breath right here. And then go to the second side. So block in your right hand so that that left arm can be relaxed. Put it underneath your left side collarbone. And then first thing, turn your head to the right. And if that's super intense, you can pause, or you can take your bottom jaw and try and move it over that right shoulder. Release your head back to center, then go again. Head to the right. You're welcome to just stay right there, especially if it's super intense sensation, or lift your chin. Breathe, and then let that bottom jaw open and lift it to close. Do that a few times. Come back to center. One more time, turn your head to the right. Stay there or lift your chin. Stay there or open and close your jaw, or you can do side to side jaw. And come back to center. Release, let your block go, and take a breath. Okay, if you're on a prop, come on off of it. You can stretch your legs forward and shake them out a little bit. And then lie down onto your left side. So now I'm not going to mirror you. I am lying on my left side. If you lie on your right side, that's totally fine. You just have to do the opposite leg thing that I'm doing. Crawl that bottom arm out as much as you can so you can get lots of length under that left armpit. And you're welcome to lay your head straight down or bend your elbow, put your head in your hand. If you need to, put a block under your head and take your bottom arm forward just for your shoulder purposes. You can do that too, and play with that. But here, I've just got my elbow bent because I am going to use this hand on the back of my head at one point. And if that's not feasible, when we get to that part, just pretend like a hand is there. Okay, so I just want to warn you about that. And now bring this top leg up toward your chest. The idea is to try not to roll backward as much as you can, but see if you can bring your top knee up toward your chest. If you can hold it with your right hand, do that. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna fall over unless I have my right hand on the ground, we'll put it there. So press out through the bottom leg to help you, and then take your top leg up toward the ceiling. It's okay to hold behind your thigh too. I'm just holding the top of my shin because that's where I like. And so as you're here, pull down with your hand, but push up through your shin, like you're gonna make that top leg a little longer. Yeah. And then from here, you can stay or hold behind your leg and lift. You can hold your calf, your thigh, you can hold your foot if you want, your ankle, you know, go easy. And same thing here, as you kind of pull down with your arm, stretch up against that with your leg. Breathe. Now bend your leg, grab hold of your front ankle or shin, and then take your inner knee down and start to go backwards. So as you take your top leg backwards, roll your right shoulder, that top shoulder back. And then as you take that leg backward, you got to think, let your belly come forward, let your low ribs come forward to counterbalance you. And then even here, move your hand toward the back of your skull. And just like we did before, can you press the back of your skull and then think about going back right where your jaw and your throat meet. And actually take your head back a little bit here. Breathe and see if you can find that balance point. And then slowly roll to your belly. Left forearm down. And then stretch, kick your right leg back behind you. Let your right shoulder reach back and open, and turn your head over your left shoulder. Take a breath. And bend your right knee, like you're gonna pull your right heel towards your butt. Ekapata is the pose, one-legged frog. And then even here, can you take where your jaw and throat meet and kind of lift that up and back? Heart forward. And release. Okay, roll onto your right side. I'm just gonna flip around so that I can still see you. You could do that too, or just roll over if now you know what we're doing. Stretch that right arm out, like really get some length in your side body and your armpit. And bend your elbow or just lay onto your arm or your block. And then bring your left knee up and toward your chest. And so if you kind of go slowly, I'm actually pushing the outer edge of my bottom foot down and reaching out really strongly through that leg to help me bring my left leg in. You can hold on to it if possible. And take it up toward the ceiling. And as you pull down on your shin or thigh with your hand, push up with your leg. Get really active in that leg. Breathe. You can stay here or hold behind your thigh, your calf, your ankle, your foot. Straighten your leg. Pull back with your arm, push up with the top leg. And then bring your hand to your shin or your ankle. Start to take your left knee and turn it forward, inner knee down, like your knees are gonna meet. And then roll your left shoulder back, push your heart forward, push your belly forward even as you kick the top leg back. And then add your head to the equation. Press your head back into your hand or imaginary hand, and then think about where your jaw and your throat come together. Take that back. Heart forward, belly forward, shoulder back, leg back, throat back. And slowly roll to your belly. Bring your right forearm underneath you. Kick back with your leg. Roll your left shoulder back. Go one-legged bow. And then turn your head over your right shoulder. Release, bring your left heel towards your butt. And lift your heart forward. Take your throat back. Just trying to include your neck in these back bended shapes, because that'll help curl your upper back a little more too. And release, stretch that back, and then come up to hands and knees and to downward facing dog. Lift your hips, push through your arms like you were stretching your side bodies and your armpits out. Maybe come up onto your toes, get your butt up really high. You can bend your knees if that helps. And with your next exhale, lower your knees down to the ground and swing your legs out in front of you. Grab your 2 blocks. If you don't have 2 blocks, no big deal. You can also do this without blocks. So don't fret. Okay. Initially, bring your hands back behind you just without any blocks. And I am taking my hands fingertips forward. Personally, I don't turn my fingertips straight forward. I turn my fingertips out a little bit. But you can actually turn your fingertips anywhere from straight forward to out to the side, or even back if that's just better for you. But I'm turning mine sort of like fanning them out just a little bit. And here, bend your knees and take the soles of your feet together. And if that's just really not a good position for you, you could even do cross-legged, or you can abandon that and stretch your legs out. It's fine. But I'm going to offer you feet together, knees apart in Baddha Konasana. And initially, you're going to grip the floor, roll your shoulders back, lift your heart, just like we did before. And if you need to just kind of keep your head forward, that's fine. But I'm going to offer you here, taking your head back, where you lift your chin a little bit, not as much as you can, and then slide that place where your jaw and your throat come together, slide it back. You could stay there, you could do it again. Lift your chin slightly, slide that place where your jaw and throat come together back. And you can do that as many times as it takes to actually let your head go all the way back. Or you can say, I don't like that, and stop where you can still breathe and tolerate things. Okay. And then release, come forward. You can keep your fingertips behind you and press forward, or you can hold your shins or even reach your arms forward and do a little forward bend here in this Baddha Konasana. And then go back. So you can bring your hands to the floor again, or you can grab your blocks. Put your blocks on low, grip them, Roll your shoulders back, lift your heart. And you can do the exact same thing here, except this time we're gonna add, push down into the pinky toe side of your foot. Lift your heels up toward the ceiling and push into the ground as though your butt were gonna lift up. Or lift your butt up, let your head go back. And the let your head go back is as before, as much as you like. Then lower that down, lean forward. Your hands can stay behind you or come forward. I'll do this a couple more times. Come back, hands behind you, roll your shoulders back, lift your heart. Pinky toe side down, lift your heels. Push everything down as though you're going to lift or actually lift your hips. Throat can go back. Breathe, and on an exhale, lower your hips. Come forward. Bring it back. One more time like that. If you'd like to turn your blocks up one level and lift a little higher, you're welcome to do that too. On an exhale, lower down. Lean forward. And this next time, bring your legs to feet to floor for reverse table. Hands to the ground or your blocks. Lift your heart. Option to lift your hips. Option to take your throat back, head back. And then lower down. Now, keeping your knees bent, you can separate your feet as much as you need to be able to kind of lean forward, and you could bring your hands to your shins, or if you can get your hands over the tops of your feet like this, do that. Let your chin drop, and maybe even push through the balls of your feet like you're pushing on gas pedals, and let your shoulder blades separate. You get a stretch maybe all the way through, like wrists, arms, upper back, maybe lower back. And then release that. Come on up. Now bring your legs underneath you and come to Vajrasana, which is sitting on your heels. Now, you can put a blanket, actually for this one, I'm gonna put a blanket underneath my knees and feet. Like I'm just gonna cushion all of it because I'm gonna sit back in Vajrasana. You can put something between your thighs and your butt, and you can also fully abandon Vajrasana and you can sit cross-legged. So do that if you need to. And in this position here initially, go ahead and grab opposite elbows like this. And keeping your elbows low, get your head to point straight forward and start to turn the rest of your torso. Breathe smoothly for this. You're probably gonna have some pulsating in your breath just because you're twisting. But breathe in a way that you like but is pretty steady. And then keep going, but bring your elbows up to shoulder height. Head still facing straight forward. Keep going, but move your elbows up to forehead height if you can. And release that. Helicopter your arms. And if you've done this with me a ton of times, we usually do it in standing, and I was like, oh, this is interesting to do with no hip movement. Okay, let your arms come to just still. Now, if you're sitting cross-legged, switch the cross of your legs maybe. Now would be a good opportunity for that. We're gonna change this up a little bit. So you can take your blocks and put them right beside your hips. So we have two elements to this. If you are sitting cross-legged, this first element that I'm going to show you, you're going to ignore because you're sitting cross-legged. One of the main focuses of this is going to be this like neck shoulder area, but we're going to add something for the legs if you're doing Vajrasana. So you can be sitting and then you shift your hips to one side and like put your butt on that block. Okay. And then you can shift to the other side, put your butt on that block. And so you can go a couple times like this, side to side. And if you're thinking, okay, Tiffany, well, this is fine. I think I could go without a block. Then you got to sit your hips to the ground and get back up. To the ground and get back up. And if suddenly this is like a stressful panic move, give your blocks back, do less shifting, whatever you can do. You know, it's okay even if you're just barely shifting side to side and getting the feel. And then we're gonna add a little bit of head and neck to this. So as I shift my hips, if I mirror you and I shift my hips to the right, I could reach my hand down under that right side and let my head go left ear toward left shoulder. And then come back up through center, go the other way, left arm kind of holds onto my thigh, right ear toward right shoulder. And so the idea here is almost like a really slow motion whip, if you can imagine that the bottom moves and then the top follows. And so you just slowly go side to side, and you're welcome to stay on each side for like a full breath, or you can go up through center and inhale, exhale down to the other side, and inhale through center again. Just kind of pick some breath pattern that's useful to you. If you're sitting cross-legged, you'll do the neck and shoulder piece, this neck piece, without doing the side to side. That's great. And don't leave your breath out of the picture, because when we're trying to get into our neck and shoulder region, breath is like a really key component to that. One more to each side. And release that, stretch your legs forward. Shake them out. And lie down on your left side. So kind of back into this same place that we began. Stretch your bottom arm out and then find the right place for your bottom arm. Your top fingertips can go in front of you, or you can bring your top hand up away from the ground for a little more of a balance challenge here. So you can do what we did last time where you use your hand to help you, but for this time around, my offering to you is to do the same movements with no hand help. So it's all, you can kind of imagine you have that hand resistance as you move the bottom leg. So push your outer left foot into the ground, bring your right knee up towards your chest. And I'm going slowly because I'm trying to breathe and not fall over and get my knee to come up as much as I can, straight in. Then knee toward the ceiling. Reach from your inner groin up through your knee and straighten. Then bend that knee. Take your inner knee down Reach the sole of your foot back. And then you're gonna stretch that right leg from like the front of your hip out through your knee, out through your shin, back. Belly forward, heart forward. And then I'm gonna take my head into my hand, take my throat back. And so I'm doing all of this, you can, remember, you can put your top hand down if you want. So you might play with both and see, maybe if you put your top hand down for a second, you can get a little more motion and then try and lift it up and see what happens. I noticed that my head doesn't want to stay back when I lose my hand. So I use my hand to say, okay, let me push my head back and then lift it and see if I can keep that. Okay, now for fun. See if you can keep that position of your top leg, but roll to your belly. So it's like your right leg is going to try to stay up off the ground even as you roll to your belly. Lift your heart, reach your top arm back. And so now the question is, can you touch your hand and your foot like this? Breathe. Do your best. Maybe get a hamstring cramp. Enjoy that. Oh yeah, I see a nod. That's the risk. That's kind of fun though. If you catch, either way, you can turn your head to the left for a minute. And then do whatever you need to do to get your foot and pull it in for a quad stretch just for a second. Hey, release that. Go to your second side. Hamstring cramps teach us so much, I think, you know. All right, stretch that bottom arm out. Find your position. Push down with the outer edge of your bottom leg and start to bring your top knee, your left knee up towards your chest. Go slow, take your time if you need to find balance and see how high up you can get your knee. And then go toward the ceiling. Reach out as though you had a hand pulling down that you were pushing up into. Straighten. And bend your knee. Rotate your whole hip. Inner knee comes down. And then start to reach from your front pelvis out through your knee, from your knee out through your shin, through the top of your foot. Belly forward, heart forward, head back. And again, you can use that hand down to see if you can find more comfort and in the pose, and then take the hand away and see if you can maintain whatever you got. Breathe. Then see if you can keep that position of your leg, roll to your belly. So your right forearm goes down and lifts you like Sphinx. Left arm goes back like you're gonna try and reach your foot. Heart up, throat back. Bend your knee. If your foot and hand come together, great. If you get hamstring cramps, relieve them and try again. Turn your head to the right for a moment. And then get your foot quad stretch. Pull your heel towards your butt. And release. Let that go. Grab your 2 blocks. From here, we're going to do a little mobility push-up progression. So you can start without your blocks. Bring your hands by your ribs like you're going to do a push-up. And I'm thinking knees down push-up personally. Grip the floor and lift your shoulders up away from the floor to whatever degree you can. Think about that place where your jaw and your throat meet, and you can lift there just a little bit. So take your head back. And now as you grip the floor, push. If you're planning to go, like if you were thinking I'm going to go into a knees off the floor push-up, you would lift your knees off the floor. I'm pushing my knees down because I'm thinking kneeling push-up. So grip the floor and push down as though you were going to lift up, but don't lift up. Notice what your shoulders do. Notice what your breath does. If your shoulders dive for the ground, see if you can lift them to some degree and still push into the ground. And you can hold right there, or tighten your belly and push yourself up to a kneeling plank or plank. Yeah? And then if you're up in kneeling plank or plank, come down. Okay? If you were able to get up to kneeling plank and you want to try bringing your hands onto blocks, it'll be hands in the same position, blocks underneath your hands. So now your elbows are probably higher than your shoulders. You can lift the fronts of your shoulders away from the ground, grip the blocks, push down with your knees or feet, push down with your hands, and breathe. Just feel for that. Make sure you're breathing and it feels okay. You can keep doing that. Or you can say, I think I feel like I could push up. And you can push up. And then you can slowly come back down. All the way down. Okay. And then if you're thinking, no problem, that was easy, give me something harder, turn your blocks up to second height. Now your elbows are much higher than your shoulders. Grip the blocks or the floor if you're doing that one still. Lift your shoulders away from the ground. Lift the back of your throat. Push down with your legs. Push down with your hands. Breathe. Tighten your belly. Stay right there. Or if you're going to try and push up, you can go up and slowly come back down. Now, whichever one of these you decided, rest for a minute and then do 2 more like this from the ground up. Whether you actually lift up or not doesn't matter so much, but do 2 more where you're engaging in this deep position, this deep shoulder position. And then do whatever you need to do to get all the way up into a kneeling plank. So however you're going to do that, and then find that place where you had, where it was challenging, or maybe perhaps was most challenging for you to get up off the ground, and be in that position. And then from the top down now, come down just as far as you can where you still feel pretty confident that you're going to be able to push back up, which might mean you bend your elbows like 2 inches and then come back up. Okay? We're going to do 5, or if you're like going and you want to do more, that's fine, but go slow. So you can go, and you just find that place where you're like, ooh, I don't know, that feels funky. And then play in that area. Make sure that you can still get back up wherever you go. And that might be going all the way down, but you might have had enough of going all the way down. You might have been able to do that like 2 times, but now not so much. Now, once you've done somewhere in the vicinity of 5, great job. Sit back like child's pose. If you've got your hands on blocks, go ahead and keep them there and just stretch that out. And come forward onto hands and knees. From here, you can have your hands on blocks, and you may want that. That'll give you a little more space for all of these next few poses. Your hands can be lower blocks or to the ground, and that's going to give you less space, so you might play with that. Place your right hand down on the ground, and then take your left arm and reach it back. And as your arm goes back, think about when we were doing those push-ups, we were trying to move the shoulder. So as your arm goes back, move your shoulder back as well. Reach up and around. And so we're just going to do a couple like this, where your arm goes back, but lift your shoulder as well, up and around. One more like that, nice and tight turns. And the next time you go, stretch your left leg out and spin your right shin around. So now you open that up and give yourself a little kneeling side plank. And if you find that your butt has to stick back in this one, that's where you definitely want to block under your hand. Good. Now, take your top arm up, lift your left leg. So you're in a kneeling side plank. Bend your knee. Now, channel yourself when you were on your side. Take from your hip, go out through your knee, reach back. From your knee, reach back through the top of your shin. Send your belly forward, heart back. Where your neck and throat meet, take that back. And then reach your arm and shoulder back and see if your hand and foot can meet one another. Breathe and think happy thoughts. It's okay if they don't meet one another. Really push down with your bottom arm. And release that. Bring it all the way back in, and then thread the needle, left arm under right. Your left side of your head can go down, and then if your hips shifted over to the right, that's what mine do, shift your hips to the left. Breathe. And release, come back up to center. Second side, press your left arm down and then take your right arm back. Lift your shoulder as well as your arm, turn. Arm toward the ceiling and then around. And if you're noticing this is so tight, that's where the block under your hand can be super helpful. Let's do a few more. Two more. Move your shoulder along with you. And this next time, take it into kneeling side plank. So you can spin your left shin backwards and stretch your right leg out. And then reach that top arm overhead, get length through your right side. You can even relax your head a little bit here. And bring your top arm up toward the ceiling, lift your right leg. You're welcome to stay. Bend your knee. You can stay there. And really start to think about this. Front of the pelvis, reach out through your knee. Don't let your knee pop up. Think about that inner knee down. And then reach back, back through your shin. Forward with your belly, forward with your ribs and your heart. Back with your throat. Back with your right shoulder, back with your right arm. Bend your knees, see if your hand and foot can find one another in the back plane, which is hard. Breathe. And release. Stretch back out and then come to hands and knees. Thread your right arm under your left for thread the needle. Get space along that side. And if your hips shift to the left, move them to the right once you're in the needle thread. And release, come back to center. Ground down through your hands, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Yay. Bring your feet a little more toward the middle. Lift your left leg up for three-leg dog. Bend your knee and open your hip as you push down from your armpits into your hands. Now send your attention up to that top leg. So think about all the things that we've been doing here. From your inner right thigh, push down into the ground to help open your hips and stack them a little more. Then think about hugging your left knee a little toward the midline and reach from the top of your pelvis out through your knee, from your knee back through your shin, through the top of your foot to open in three-leg dog. Inhale here, and as you exhale, step your left foot outside of your left hand. Spin your right heel down and walk your hands forward and to the right for down dog lunge. Push down through the fronts of both heels. Lengthen your spine like down dog. Send your butt and your upper inner thighs back. And bring that back towards center. Bring your right hand down to the ground, lower your right knee, and bring your left hand to your thigh. And so from here, squeeze your front heel and your back knee toward one another and turn from your belly toward the ceiling. Take your throat back. You can even bring your left hand to the back of your head and press your skull back. Take your throat back. That area where your throat and your jaw come together is where you can think. You can stay there, or you can let go of your head, bend your right knee, and see if your hand and foot can meet one another. Or if you can give yourself a hamstring or even a calf cramp. Sorry what I got on that one. Release. Bring it back around. Downward facing dog. Bring your left foot toward the midline. Lift your right leg up. You do as much heel lift as you need to get lift. And then start to open. Bend your knee and open your hips. So the bottom leg, your left leg, is like the top leg when you were laying on your side. Reach from the inner groin down into the ground. Make your leg longer. And then from your right leg, hug your knee toward the midline, like toward the floor a little bit. Reach from the front of your pelvis out through your knee, from your knee back through your shin. Open. Inhale. And as you exhale, step your right foot outside your right hand. Spin your back heel down and walk your hands forward and to the left for down dog lunge. Push the ground away from you. Send your butt and your upper inner thighs back. Push down through both of your front heels, especially the right one. And come back through center. Keep your left hand down, lower your left knee, and turn over your right leg. And you are welcome to stay right here and just work the twist and the head back. So you can even bring your right hand to the back of your skull to help push back. So on the back of your skull, you can sort of get that little bit of chin lift, but then you've got to think where your throat and your jaw come together. I'm going to take that back, and that's going to get your upper back and like the lower part of your neck involved a little bit more. Breathe right there. You can stay. You can bend your back knee. You can stay there. You can reach that top hand back and see if it can meet your foot. Breathe. Release. From here, step forward, uttanasana, forward fold. If you'd like, you can bring your hands, your palms underneath your feet, fingertips back towards your heels, toes toward the heels of your hands toward your wrists. And you can do a little shift side to side with the balls of your feet, kind of massage out your palms. You can do a little toe wiggle to massage the heels of your hands. You can do as much knee bend as you need to get your hands in that position if you want to do the little massage. And release. Bring your hands to your hips and come up to standing. Okay, so for this half block, we're going to take a wide stance, and you can have blocks on either side in case you want them. And we're not spending a ton of time. We've done like this huge foray into all these different variations of like a chapasana leg, which is grabbing your foot in ardha chandrasana. It's called ardha chandrasana chapasana. So I'm calling the leg grab the chapasana leg. And as you can see, we've done a lot of that. But we're going to see now if we can translate that into ardha chandrasana. So this first round, we're going to do 3 rounds. One of them is a triangle, we're gonna get the triangle. Second round, ardha chandrasana, and if you're really comfortable in ardha chandrasana, you can do the chapasana leg twice. The third round, we'll try the chapasana leg if you haven't already. So with wide legs, I'll mirror you, turn your right toes in and your left toes out, and come down into trikonasana, triangle. So left arm down, you can bring it to your shin or maybe your block. Like if you can't easily reach the floor outside of your foot in triangle pose, a block in ardha chandrasana is probably ideal. And you'll want that block on the outside of your foot. So from here, think about this in terms of when you were lying on your side, and if you're like, I don't want to stand up, you can actually do this lying on your side. From your inner groin, push down through your foot, spin your belly button, and bring your hand to the back of your skull. Push back into your hand, that's going to lift your chin a little bit, and then think to yourself, where my jaw and my throat meet, slide that back. So we're just adding a little back bend to this triangle. And once your next exhale is done, reach your top arm up and push through your feet, come up to standing. Switch sides. Left toes forward, right toes out to the side. Trikonasana, come down. And I don't care if your top hand is on your hip or up or whatever. Maybe find a block height that is handy. And if getting to even the block on the highest height, still like you're having to lean your torso forward and your butt back and it's not really working for you, that's a sign that you might want to go to the wall so that when you try and do ardha chandrasana, you actually just have a wall where you don't have to. That can be a good thing to do too. Yeah. Turn your belly, your rib cage up. From your inner groins, reach down through your legs. Make your legs really, really active. And then bring your hand to the back of your head, that top hand. Push back of your skull into your hand. That's a little bit of the chin lift. Then where your jaw and your throat meet, slide that back. And see if you can get a different sensation there. Breathe. Stretch your top arm up. Push your heels down, come up. Yeah, turn your toes forward. Okay, so all of those same things in ardha chandrasana. Left leg out and come down. Now, if you don't want to do ardha chandrasana, you can lie on your side and put your leg in the air. Or you can even do like that kneeling side plank work, and you can work on it there. But for this, we're gonna bend your left knee this time, take the floor or your block, and then step your back foot in, move your left arm forward and under your shoulder, and then lift your back leg. Ardha chandrasana. So again, this bottom leg, like when you were on your side, make it longer. Like a triangle, turn your belly up. And then from here, bring your top hand to the back of your head. Press your head back. Take your throat back. Breathe. If you feel really comfortable here, you can try just bending your knee. And think about when you were lying on your side, the inner knee down, and then reach out through your thigh, back through your shin, belly forward, heart forward, leg back, head back. And then straighten your leg, lift your top arm, and come back, like side angle. Stretch your foot, move your hand back by your left foot, and then step down. Come on up, second side. Right, left. Turn your left leg forward and your right leg out. Bend your knee, come like side angle. Hand outside of your foot. And then step your back foot in part way, move your right arm forward, and push push through your bottom leg, lift. Grip the block and push down with your bottom arm even. Breathe. It's okay if your bottom knee's bent, you know? It can be here, it's great. Push down from your groin through the heel, the front of your right heel, to get really steady and open your pelvis. Then, top hand to the back of your head if you can. Press your head back, take your throat back. You can stay right there and breathe. Or bend your top knee. Think about your inner knee going down. It's not going to move a lot, but just get that action going. Then, from the front of your left pelvis, stretch out through your knee. From your knee, stretch back through your shin. Take your belly forward, take your heart forward, take your throat back, take your head back. And release. Come on out of it, bend your right knee, move your hand back, reach back through your foot, and come up. Okay. You can do any of the things that we've done before. Or this time, just like we did in kneeling, we're gonna add the opportunity to bring your top hand back and catch your foot. Okay, so, woo, we'll give it a try. Right toes forward, left toes out. Bend your left knee, grab your block or the floor. Step your back foot forward, reach your left arm forward, lift your back leg up. Root that bottom leg from your groin all the way through the front of your heel. Push your hand into the ground, turn. From here, hand to the back of your head. Take your head back, take your throat back, take your heart forward. Bend your top knee. Inner knee down, and from the right front pelvis, stretch out through your knee, back through your shin. Belly forward, heart forward, head back. Option to bring your top hand back toward your foot. You must bend your knee a little bit probably to get your hand and foot to connect. And I don't care which side of your foot you grab at this point. And then you can add a kick back and almost like with your top hand, you can pull your foot back and that'll open your shoulder more. Release when you're ready. Straighten your leg, bend your left knee, bring your hand back by your foot and stretch back to side angle. Then come up. Okay, left toes forward, right toes out. Bend your right knee, reach down. Bring your left foot forward, bring your right arm forward, and lift, ardha chandrasana. Note that you can stay. Root down from your right groin to the front of your right heel. Push down with your bottom arm, gripping the floor, gripping your block. Turn your belly rib cage up. Take your top hand behind your head and go head back, throat back. Breathe here, bend your top knee. Inner knee down toward the ground, just a little bit. From the front of your left pelvis, stretch out through your knee. From your knee, stretch back through your shin. Stay there or take your top hand and reach it back. And then here you have to bend your knee. Use your hamstrings to get your foot and hand to come together. If your foot and hand come together, kick your foot into your hand and pull back with your hand. Belly forward, heart forward, head back, throat back, foot back. Release. Slowly stretch your left leg out. Walk your hand back, come to side angle. And then come up. Ah, nice work. Ardha, chandrasana, chapasana, which is just fun to say. Now turn your toes forward to whatever degree feels comfortable to you. Inhale here, stretch your arms up. Exhale, come down. Prasarita. In this variation, bring your left arm forward. I'm not going to mirror you this time. Bring your left arm forward and bring your right arm under your left. And you can grab your left thigh, shin, ankle, whatever you can reach. So like a thread the needle. Turn your left elbow up toward the ceiling so that you can twist gently, like you're peeking up under that left elbow. It's okay if your hips get very uneven, like let the twist win at first. And then for me, you know, my hips are shifting over to the left, over in the direction that I'm facing. So now I'm gonna keep my twist, and I'm just gonna try and like wag my tail, like send my butt and my thighs back to the right a little bit. Breathe. Release. Second side, right arm under left. Right elbow up, twist. Just let your legs do whatever they want to get into a twist that feels good. Then, if your butt shifted over to the right, see if you can push your feet into the ground and move your butt and especially your left thigh over to the left a little bit, if that feels useful. Release, come back to center. Bring your hands up underneath your shoulders. And then spin your heels in a little bit toward one another. Bend your knees and lift your chest like you're going into as low a squat as you can get with your legs in that position. And lift your hips back up. Keep your heels where they are. Turn your toes straight forward. Sit your butt down. Lift your head and chest. Send your hips back up. Keep your toes where they are. Spin your heels in toward one another. Sit your butt down, lift your head and chest. Lift your hips. Keep your heels where they are. Spin your toes straight forward. Butt down, head up. Okay, keep going for maybe a couple more rounds. Or, you know, if you're like as close together as you want your feet, then stay in your squat. Or come to sitting, that's where we're heading. All right, I think I've got about one more in me. My legs are all the way together. Ding. Once you're there, sit. That's where we're going. All right, lie down. You can move blocks and other things out of the way. And on an inhale, stretch your arms and legs in opposite directions. And as you exhale, bring your knees in toward your chest. Hug them in. Breathe. And then cross your left shin on top of your right shin. Lift your head and chest, and you can grab the tops of your feet. So your shins are crossed, but my hands are not crossed. I'm grabbing the foot that's closest. And you can grab the outer edges of your feet, or you can grab the tops of your feet. Whatever feels better. And you pull, so it's like a cross-seated pose on your back. Knees go kind of apart, and your feet are coming in towards your thighs, essentially. Breathe there. And if you absolutely can't get your feet, that's no big deal. Just hold your shins, and as you pull in toward you with your shins, you can push out with your elbows on your inner thighs and get a similar effect, you know? Release, stretch your arms and legs in opposite directions. And then exhale, come back in, switch sides. So this time, I think it's right shin on top of left. And then again, you can hold the tops of your shins and push your elbows out. You can hold your feet. You can absolutely just have your legs on the ground and stand cross-seated. That feels good to you. Yeah. If rocking would feel good, feel free to rock side to side. And then release. Stretch your legs forward and your arms up overhead. And from here, bend your left knee up toward your chest and then reach it across. So you're going into a twist. You can take your arms out side to side and turn your head to the left. And so to me, it doesn't matter how low your leg goes. I just like to do that reach. If you want to bend your bottom knee and stack your legs, you're welcome to do that too. Whatever feels good to you. And come back to center and go to the second side. Stretch your left leg out, bend your right knee in toward your chest, and then take it across your body and twist. And then you could turn your head to the right. That feels good. You can also use a block and put it underneath your leg if you just want support for that leg rather than to be reaching it. It's fine. Bring it back to center. Stretch your leg forward. Take a breath in and out. And then bend both your knees. Take your feet a little wider than your hips. Lift and lower your hips and bring your hands to your torso somewhere for constructive rest. Drop your knees in toward one another. And settle back toward the ground. We'll take a few minutes to rest. Really just a couple minutes to rest. So if you want more than that, turn me off so that I don't disrupt you. If you'd like to rest in any different position from what I described, you're welcome to do so. You can stay here in constructive rest. Or if you'd like to let your palms fall open and your heels slide out to the corners of your space in chapasana, feel free to do that. And with your next exhale, let your exhale get to the bottom and then gently blow out the rest of your air. So you get like a really fully complete exhale. When you inhale, do so through your nose, very slowly and gently. Then relinquish control over your breath. Let the muscles around that space where your jaw and your throat come together, very soft, relaxed. Let all the skin on your face, around your mouth, your eyes, your forehead get soft, smooth. And then allow your mind to settle, following the rise and fall of your breath. If you're enjoying your rest and can stay longer, please do. Otherwise, move slowly and gently as you make your way to sitting. As you close your formal practice, take a moment to find something that you noticed or discovered that you can take with you off your mat, away from your formal practice, into the rest of your day. Something that will serve you, be useful to you. I thank you so much for joining me in practice. It's truly a joy to be here with you. Take care.